Buff Nation.
Let's go. Did you see how I brought in the show yesterday?
I did not actually.
I did a ceremonial pause, and then I said, let's go.
Wow. In memoriam.
We, not to gas you up too much, but we miss you when you're not here.
Thank you. Thank you. I miss when I'm not here. Trust me. Trust me. We're coming to you guys live from the Toyota Lounge. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Our buff is crooked again.
Bro.
It's on there. It's just crooked. It's DNVR Buffs Primetime. We're presented by Illegal Pete's. How was yesterday?
It was great. Dre gave us some great breakdowns of Savion Riley, a name that I really wish you would have had to try to pronounce before I did.
Chijoke?
So the comment said it's Chijioke.
Okay.
So I'm rolling with that because it sounds really cool. And then we also did Julian Lewis because Dre had an iconic breakdown of Jordan Seaton when he was still just a potential commit.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to summon those vibes.
I love it, man. When's that visit again? Next month?
I believe it's the end of June.
So we got some time. All right, a few things to get to. You guys probably touched on Nebraska kickoff time yesterday.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Pumped beyond belief.
Yeah.
It's going to be electric.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens once the conference slate starts. Well, actually, I'll save that take. It's amazing. 6:30 local time, so perfect for us for tailgating. I know there's going to be so many Buffs fans out there just doing anything they can right now to gobble up tickets. So it's going to be incredible, and that 6:30 local start is honestly the dream.
Definitely, man. You knew when that game was moved to Thursday, or we're talking NDSU?
Well, I was talking Nebraska, but we can move on to NDSU.
Yeah, for sure. That game is, I think everyone's got that one circled, and the one after that. But NDSU kickoff came through today. Center of the college football world on that Thursday, 6 p.m. prime time.
Love it. Absolutely love it. We knew once they moved it to Thursday that it would probably be ESPN, that it would probably be primetime. Well, it would definitely be primetime. They're not going to play a day game on a Thursday. But getting that scheduled for ESPN, honestly, just a suggestion to our new president. I believe his name's President Salomon.
Yes.
Just shut down school that day. Just shut it down. Shut down the university. It's going to be an absolute madhouse up there.
Oh, yeah.
Starting at like noon. Just shut down. Just give everyone the day off. Honestly, call it Prime Day.
There you go. I love it.
And say everyone gets school off and enjoy the game. It would be a great kind of move, win some people over.
Oh, I mean, we wouldn't be there all day, obviously, but driving up, Boulder would already be in full swing.
Yeah, for sure. So my recommendation to people, though, honestly, is to get there very early that day. Because the combination of game day traffic with just standard school day traffic is going to be messy, but that's okay. We will be ready for it.
We got a commitment yesterday also. This roster's starting to get rounded out. Former East Mississippi Community College offensive lineman Chris Morris is a Buff. Played in 12 out of 13 games last year.
Nice.
And then we have this the same camp from last year happening again sometime soon. I think that's in June also.
Did we get someone out of that last year?
We got a few walk-ons.
Okay.
I think we might have got 3-6 Mafia from that.
Nice.
I don't know exactly his story, but he was part of, I think, the group of, they had like a tight end, I remember, that came in around then, a few guys.
All right.
So we'll see.
I'm hoping we can start our tailgate for that NDSU game at like noon.
Would you be able to handle that?
Yeah.
For the show after?
One of these days I'm just going to bail on the show after.
Okay. That's fine.
I feel I've earned it.
You have earned it. If the win is big enough, we'd expect it.
But it's so funny because it's like a big win, you want to be on the show more.
Right.
We'll see. The Nebraska one is going to be, that one's going to be touchy.
I mean, we're going to be in enemy territory too.
Yep.
It's probably best that you're on your best behavior.
Yep. Oh, by the way, one more thing. I know we already passed it, but one more thing on North Dakota State.
Okay.
I'm seeing people like first of all, so many people think Colorado is going to lose, which just has me on this take that I said to you before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's ever been a bigger gap in perception between people who believe in a team and people who don't believe in a team.
I've never seen anything like it.
And obviously, it's kind of a contrast of love and hate, right? Like, you love something, you're going to expect great things from it. You hate something, you're going to expect terrible things from it. But there is a Grand Canyon-sized gap between the haters and the believers.
Yep.
And it's so weird to like follow on Twitter. Like, if you go look at just any post that mentions that game, half the posts are like, oh my God, Colorado's going to lose to North Dakota State. And the other half are like, they're going to blow them out.
That's exactly what happened last year for TCU, though.
Yeah, but TCU is kind of different because it was like even Colorado fans weren't sure what to expect yet.
Fair, yeah.
You know, so it was like, hey, we believe, you know, Coach Prime has this, at least a lot of people were, you know, ready to believe. But it was kind of like, if you asked the Colorado fan before the game, are you down to lose by 7? An old school Colorado fan probably would have been like, yeah, I'll take that.
For sure.
You know, they're 21 and a half or 24 and a half point.
24 and a half.
24 and a half point dogs, you know. So I think there was a gap, but it's not as big as now. Like, it's the same thing with Shador where people are talking about how he, like, some people are saying he's not going to get drafted. That one's like, you're just willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
But it's just wild to follow this kind of gap. And it leads me to Mike Golick Jr. said something like, I can't believe Colorado agreed to play North Dakota State. And like the way he phrased it, at least to me, makes it seem like he doesn't know that these things are scheduled almost a decade in advance. And so I went and looked it up. That game was scheduled in 2016. Now, you can absolutely make the case, and this is what I would do if I were him and someone came after me about it on Twitter. I would just be like, that's even worse that Colorado agreed to play North Dakota State in 2016 because that was when North Dakota State was on a run of like winning 8 straight games against FBS teams.
Yep.
So you can make that case, but I felt like it was a little bit baity to almost a little bit, from my perspective, can't tell you what his intentions were, but almost to make it seem like Coach Prime and this iteration of Colorado wanted to play North Dakota State.
Oh, definitely. And Nicholas has a great comment right there. Coach Prime's coming from an FCS school at Jackson State, like, and they were a powerhouse.
Yep.
So they know what they're kind of walking into here. They know to not take them lightly and also it's the first game of the season. Like, I think you had this point recently also, like, for any game to be your FCS opponent, have it be the first game of the season because you're going to be extra locked in on that. You're going to prepare your ass off for that game too.
100%. Also, like, no one's... You can't be scared of North Dakota State.
No.
Like, if you want to go where this program is going...
Yes.
Even if they did schedule the game last week, you can't say, like, nah, we don't want to play North Dakota State. That's scary.
Right.
Like, if you want to go play with the big boys in the Big 12, you want to make the college football playoff, you want to win a conference championship, you scoff at the idea of playing North Dakota State. Now, you shouldn't do that. Take them seriously, but they're going to take their week 1 opponent seriously.
Yep.
And I also like that it's a night game just because it's obviously the hottest time of year.
Right.
That you could play a game, obviously, week 1. We saw last year.
Sheesh, man.
What it was like, but it'll be once the sun goes down, which, you know, it'll start going down by the time the game kicks off and be down by the time it's over. It's not going to be like obscenely hot. And those are types of things that can swing games in week 1. One team comes in. I think last year Colorado came in like more in shape and more hydrated than TCU, who's playing in their backyard. They were prepared for that heat more than Colorado could have been. But remember, Coach Prime did the water or Gatorade is the only thing you're allowed to drink for the 2 weeks before the game. I actually think that paid off.
For sure. I think Coach Mo paid off a bit too.
Yep.
A lot, actually, I should say.
So I just thought that was funny. Like, I can't believe Colorado agreed to play this game. Well, someone has to play them, right?
Yes. I mean, you got to beat the best to be the best. Why not? So, next thing, Bill Connelly. We've talked about him on this show before. His S&P Plus rankings, but this time it is the returning production rankings. We should get an S&P Plus update next week, I believe.
Nice.
That's an analytic based on like past production. I think it's like the past 5 years or so, and then recruiting rankings, and then also part of this, what we're going to talk about right here, returning production.
Yes.
And so you asked, I actually found this, what returning production is made up of here. Stay with me, okay?
Okay, I'm with you.
So 100%, right?
100% returning production.
Yes. It's broken up offensively like this. Percent of returning wide receiver / tight end receiving yards is 24% of the overall number. Quarterback passing yards is 23%. Percent of returning O-line snaps is 47%. And percent of returning running back rushing yards is 6%. Defensively, percent of returning tackles is 70%. Percent of returning PBUs is 14%. And percent of returning TFLs is 12%. Returning sacks is 4%.
Okay.
So,
does it say anything about transfers in there?
Well, this is the breakdown from last year. Let's see. Not really.
Huh.
But you saw he said something.
Okay. So, well, let's get to the facts first.
Yes.
Which is that Colorado ranks 17th in the country with 71% returning production.
Yep.
Were you able to find what they were last year?
I can in just a second. I've got it up right here.
And there's a couple things that Bill Connelly, who does this, noted. First of all, and I think it's as important to remember for last year's number once you get it. He said, one thing I'm trying this year is FCS stats get half credit. So if you threw for 2,000 yards in FCS, 1,000 of it gets dropped into the returning production formula. If you made 50 tackles, your new team returns 25. So why this is important is for two reasons. Last year it didn't have it. Mm-hmm. So that means Colorado got 0 credit for their quarterback.
Yep.
And they didn't return any of the quarterbacks that were on their roster when they were doing this metric. So they were at a 0 in one of the most important categories. Obviously, also, none of Travis Hunter's stats came over. Any of the other guys, Cam Silman Craig, Savion Wilkerson, none of their Shiloh, yes. None of their stats counted for anything. That's important to create. But also, this tells you that transfers count.
Yes.
FCS transfers count for half, which I'm sure some people have an issue with, and I think that's fair. It's also really hard to measure how you would make that count.
Mm-hmm.
FBS transfers count for full. And so I think this is where a lot of people got confused on the metric because it is kind of confusing. Returning production feels like the same players are returning, right?
Right.
It's more how much, it's kind of trying to tell you how much experience you have. Rather than how much returning production. I think maybe it could use a rebrand to the experience formula or something like that.
Yeah.
And then one last thing. Well, no, we'll get to that in a second. But someone did respond to him and said, wait, Colorado loses all of their running back and OL production, their top tackle for loss and PBU guys, and half of their top 9 tacklers. What am I missing? And he said that they added 200 other guys.
Yeah.
Essentially confirming he's counting transfers in on this. So, like, a Will Shepard counts for you.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't hurt nearly as much that you lost Zay Weaver.
Right. So last year they were at 93. This is actually from February 7th. So this is actually counting a lot of the 2022 production because that giant exodus didn't happen until April after the spring game.
Okay.
So they were 93, 50.
93rd, ranked 93rd in the country.
Yep. And they had 57% returning production on both sides of the ball at that point.
I mean, I'd really be interested to see if there was something that came in closer to now or even further down the road. Because I think this is a weird time to do this because Colorado's still going to bring in more players and other teams are as well.
Mm-hmm. So you have the number for right now, right? This just came out yesterday. Here's from February 5th of this year. Oops. Colorado's 15th there.
From when?
From just in February. They ranked them 15th in returning production, and now they dropped down a little bit.
Okay.
I'd assume because you lost running backs.
Yeah,
really?
It would have been
corners.
Dylan.
Yeah.
And Savion. Anyways, to me, here's the most important part of this stat and why I'm excited that Colorado's top 20 in it. So to answer that, well, first of all, to answer the question in the headline, why is Colorado able to do this? Because they brought in very productive transfers. And I think that's what people are missing entirely. Matt H., we've talked about it, has done a great job of totaling all of this on what they lost and what they brought in on Twitter, and it's just like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
They lost very low production players. Heck, even Dylan Edwards, who was very obviously the most painful loss from a numbers standpoint, did not put up anything crazy, especially when you bring in Rashad Amos,
right,
who had over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns.
For sure.
But here's what makes this notable. Last year's top 4 in the stat, obviously Colorado a little bit behind that, but last year's top 4 in the stat were Kansas, Missouri, Florida State, and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
In the previous season, those teams were 35-18. The season that they were top 4 in returning production, they went 48-7. On the other side of this, last year's bottom 4 were Kent State, UAB, ECU, and Stanford. They went from 23-27 the year before to the year that they were the bottom 4 in the country in returning production, 10-38. So it's clear that this is a big advantage, and we've always known this,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
It's the old adage that I think was actually used in college basketball, but applies to all college sports. Get old and stay old.
Mm-hmm.
You want the guys that are out there on the field for you being guys who have played lots of college football. Just as there is a huge gap from from college football to the NFL, there's a huge gap from high school to college football. The longer that you've been out there, the longer that you've experienced these things, and for guys like Will Shepard or Savion Wright, like those guys have played in the SEC.
Yep.
It's such a leg up over new players and things of that nature. So this probably was a lot more drastic even of a stat 5 or so years ago when you couldn't just transfer people in.
Sure.
Remember, there was a time where, like, if you had a huge senior class graduating, for example, Colorado 2016, they have that great season, and then they graduated all of their top guys: Tedrick Thompson, Akella Witherspoon, Chidobe Awuzie,
Mm-hmm.
and on and on and on. Sefo Lufau, their quarterback. I think Philip Lindsay was actually back the next year. But all you had to replace that, for the most part, was players that were already in your program.
Yeah.
And so then you would bring in a huge freshman class, and it would kind of reset it to, okay, well, 4 years from now, you're going to have this big senior class. Now you can kind of get through it, but it shows you the value of Coach Prime's success in the transfer portal. Colorado was able to lose a lot of production, but actually replace it with even greater production and move up these rankings.
Yep. All right, let's hit a break real quick, and then we'll put a bow on this. You want to talk about your Toyota? Super reliable, efficient, stylish, clutch. What other words would you use to describe your Toyota?
Swoop.
Swoop? Like Nike?
That's swoosh.
Oh.
Yeah, you must have missed Zach Stevens' word that he invented.
I did then. Please inform me.
He was doing a Toyota read.
Yeah?
He was talking about the new RAV4, or the new 4Runner, and he was like, it's just so swoop. and Todd and Henry were like, what? He's like, swoop. It means, like, that's cool. And so then we all Googled it. No, it didn't. Turns out his dad has been using that word his whole life, and he just thought that was a real word that no one else has ever used.
I just Urban Dictionary.
Oh, you don't want to Urban
yeah,
Dictionary it.
I just saw.
You don't want to Urban Dictionary it. But now it means cool.
I'm not going to use that, but Zach can go ahead, I guess.
It's swoop. Anyways, visit your Front Range Toyota stores.
At a location near you, AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Also, shout out Bet365. We're going to be picking every single over-under win total today as well. All those odds, courtesy of our friends over at Bet365. It's my favorite book. I was in a state where I couldn't bet over the weekend. That was brutal.
Tragic.
Yeah.
I won't get into this right now, but we had a conversation on the Bronco show the other day about why you can't bet from a plane if you're over a state where it's legal.
Wait, you can't?
No, I've tried.
Damn, that's brutal.
I know.
Why? Do you know why?
I assume eventually, like I'm guessing there's a blocker in the airplane Wi-Fi that tells your phone that you're not actually in that state.
The Nuggets are 4-point favorites tonight. You know the stat about winning Game 5s in the NBA and how that usually determines the winner of the series? How
Especially
we feeling?
in a tie series.
Yeah.
I mean, the craziest thing about this series is that the way that it's always been believed and the way that it almost always works out is that your role players play really well at home in the playoffs and play really bad on the road in the playoffs. It's just like, that's what happens. You can usually count on your stars to bring it no matter what. That's been completely flipped in this series. And so conventional wisdom tells me that it'll level out tonight and the Nuggets starters will do great, but also their role players will play better than they normally do, or than they would on the road. But this whole series has been upside down. I feel good, though. You have to feel good.
Game 4 was incredible, though. That sequence at the end of the first half was, I think I've watched that maybe 40 times, maybe more.
Yeah.
Since, what was that, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Either way, create an account with Bet365, deposit $10, use that code DNVR. All you have to do after that, place a bet of $5 or more, win or lose, and then you will get $150 in bonus bets. You must be 21 and older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. To put a bow on these returning production ratings, and I think it kind of goes back to something you're talking about, but it's something we've mentioned a lot on this podcast, is that they are just recruiting a different caliber of player this offseason. And it's a lot of Power 5 guys. And honestly, I just think it's easier to translate that production over to Colorado this year than it was last year.
Yeah, for sure. I also find it really interesting that there's a pretty big drop-off between 11 and 12. Basically, 1 through 11 is Iowa State's first at 86%. 11 is SMU at 78%. And then it drops down to 73%. And there's a big group. Like Colorado is in the group that essentially goes from 73 to 70, which is between 12 and 23. So big pack there. It's kind of, there's a top tier and a second tier that go together there. But you love being in the second tier. 4th in the Big 12, by the way, is Colorado. And exactly tied with Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska is also 20th. I'm trying to go quickly through here for some more relevant teams. Can't find Colorado State. 60th.
There you go.
All right, let's pick every Big 12 team's over-under.
All right. Do you have the order in the notes?
Yeah.
Great. Perfect.
Again, all these odds courtesy of our friends at Bet365. Alyssa's going to pull up the schedules as well. We're just going to go in alphabetical order. So Arizona's first up.
I'm so glad that this is first.
Their win total's 8.5. Juice on the over, plus 150, minus 180 on the under.
I'm so glad this came up because I've been waiting for a time to get this takeoff.
Oh, let's go.
I think Arizona's in for a really disappointing season.
Hell yeah.
I've been thinking about this more and more. And here's the truth, Jake. Arizona is in financial ruin. We've heard about that for months now.
Yep.
The report, I believe, was that they're $400 million in debt. And that's fine. I guess sometimes to be a little bit in debt. It seems like an egregious amount. We don't know it. We haven't confirmed if that's true. I don't believe. And I doubt the university would ever admit it.
Right.
But something happened. They lost their coach.
They did.
They had to get a new coach.
They did.
And I think they went to the bargain bin.
They had to.
With Brett Brennan.
Yep.
And I think that is why they're going to underachieve this season. They obviously have top-line talent. But look at this. The book is telling you they believe they're going to underachieve by putting all of the juice on the over. They're begging you with this plus 150 number to bet the over on Arizona. I love that I didn't know this, but they're kind of confirming my feelings that they're not going to live up to the expectation that they have down there.
For sure. So look at their schedule here.
It doesn't help that they don't have football fans.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. Their out-of-conference schedule, UNM, Northern Arizona, and then I think that third game, the Kansas State game, is a weird, already scheduled game, and it's a Big 12 matchup, but it's not a Big 12 conference game.
Who is this?
Arizona and
versus
K-State.
Oh,
Week 3. Because after Week 3, it's all Big 12 teams.
Yeah. This actually happened to Colorado when they joined the Big 12. They had a series schedule, the home and home with Cal, that they had only played the Cal game. So Colorado played Cal in a non-conference game their first season in the Pac-12. I believe it went to double overtime. Colorado lost. Sucked. Paul Richardson had like 250 receiving yards. It was crazy.
What a dog. Cal games in Boulder, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the under too. ASU is next. A team that has got some momentum, I'd say now.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on at quarterback there.
That's exactly the question.
4.5 is the number. Again, the juice is on the over, plus 120, minus 150 on the under. I don't even know who they'd have at starting QB. Sam Levitt?
Who?
That's a great question. I'll try to do some work on this.
Man, I got to be honest, Jake. I would love to take the over here, but the complete uncertainty and unrest at the quarterback position kind of prevents me from doing that.
Yep.
As unlikable as Anthony Totri tries to make Arizona State, I kind of like them. Like, I like Kenny Dillingham. I like the city. I don't think we've had that many bad interactions with their fan base. They're kind of generally an inoffensive team.
Yep.
I like Dillingham. They have no quarterback?
So Sam Levitt played in 4 games last year for Michigan State. He only attempted 23 passes, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Bourguet's still on the roster.
Bourguet. Okay. All right. They've got some experience there. I'll give them 5 wins. I also just really like Scadaboo. Someone at the earlier in the comments said, "Does Alto take over the starting spot from Scadaboo?" No shot.
I think Scadaboo might start here as well.
He's a dog.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's an absolute beast. He literally played every position for them last year.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, running back, quarterback, punter.
He's their Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Very different, not nearly as gifted, but he's starting.
He's like
a coach's dream.
He's what they call in the Move the Sticks podcast with DJ and Bucky. He's what they call their Jenga piece. You take him out, the whole thing falls down.
I like that.
Out of conference schedule: Wyoming, Mississippi State, and Texas State. They get.
I wish I could see the schedule.
They get a pretty decent home schedule. They get Kansas, Utah, Cincy at home, UCF, BYU. There you go.
This is still pretty hard.
You can't see that?
I can see it. I can't see the helmets. I just have to read the names.
Yeah. Did you take the over? I'll take the over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over. I'm giving them 5.
Baylor. The team that Colorado will open up their...
Wait, did they get Jeff Sims too?
Oh, God.
I think that's what people in the comments are saying. Now that you're saying it, I remember it.
I can't believe he's in FBS still, honestly. Yep.
They might have dropped
3 days ago.
They might have dropped the ball with that one, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. He committed 3 days ago. Baylor this year.
Never mind.
What?
Someone said Django piece is wild, but you said Jenga. As in like the game with the blocks.
Baylor set at 5.5. Juice on the over, plus 140, minus 170 on the under. Big year for Dave Aranda. Out of conference, Tarleton State. Utah's week 2. They also have Air Force on the schedule.
That's an L.
So I don't know if one of these has to be a non-conference conference game too then.
Yeah, probably. Wait. But how would that be? They've been in the conference. Right?
I wonder if this Utah game in week 2
yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, that's it. So that makes sense.
Another team where quarterback's kind of a question. I honestly couldn't tell you who their best player is.
I mean, they're starting 1 and 3.
Yeah, probably.
There we go.
And then depending how you feel about BYU as well, that could be a 1 and 4 staring down the barrel, and then Dave Aranda could be coaching for his job from that point on. I mean, he's going to be coaching for his job.
And then they take on Iowa State. I mean, they could legitimately have 1 win going into the bye week.
Mm-hmm. Gary Bohannon, former BYU quarterback, projected to be their quarterback.
All right. Interesting.
Plus 140 over, minus 170 under. I'm going under.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Shimon Mateer's at ASU as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do we do... oh, never mind. We have one more.
Nicole in the comments said, I'll take NDSU over Air Force any day and twice on Sundays.
Yes.
Actually, on
Saturdays.
Saturdays and Thursdays. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I never want to play Air Force again. There's no upside.
No,
You
not
have
at
to
all.
prepare for an offense that you'll never see the rest of the season. That is a real trap game. Mm-hmm. Waste a bunch of time trying to learn how to defend that shit.
Although Air Force was bottom of this returning production.
Oh.
Very bottom.
All right.
134th.
Well,
But
it's kind of a plug-and-play
Force,
offense.
though. Yeah, exactly.
If they get the quarterback right, they're good every time.
Yeah. Next, we've got BYU. Pretty bad year last year. 4.5 is the line. Plus 105 on the over. Minus 135 on the under.
So wait, did we take the under on
I
Baylor?
took the under on
Yep.
Baylor. Cincinnati. It looks like Brendan Sorsby could be their quarterback. He played at Indiana last year. He was a 4-star transfer.
Okay.
Kalani Sitake's a good head coach.
I'm a big Kalani Sitake fan. I don't. It feels like maybe the luster has come off of him a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think he's done a great job there. I've got them going over this. I think they're going to be much improved.
I think I'm going to agree with you. Out of conference at Southern Illinois, that's a win. At SMU, at Wyoming, so 2 tough out of conference schedule games.
I wouldn't necessarily call those tough, but
well, I mean,
you'd prefer to be playing more teams like Southern Illinois if you're trying to stack wins.
SMU is going to be a tough game for sure, especially as they're going there.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas State at home, Arizona at home, Oklahoma State at home, Kansas at home, Houston at home.
Wow,
That's a really fortunate draw.
Yeah, I'm always of two minds on this. You're not going to win all of them. If you had all of your bad teams at home, you're probably going to win all of them. You're not going to beat all of those teams. You probably will get an upset out of it. But I don't. If I could choose, I would actually. And I always disagree with my friends on this whenever like a schedule comes out. If I could choose, I would take all the bad teams at home.
I mean, you're basically guaranteeing wins at that point.
Exactly.
And then if you win those games on the road, it's probably going to weight more on your strength of schedule anyway, too.
Yep. Colorado is the same thing this year. They have a lot of tough matchups at home.
Yep.
You like it because, and I guess it depends on what quality of program you are. Because if Colorado's a Big 12 championship caliber team, then you want those games at home because you think that they're kind of somewhere around 50-50s and you would like to have the home field advantage. But if you're a team like BYU that's just trying to find a way to 6 wins, I would rather have the easier games at home.
I'm going to take the over. Cincinnati, another team who, or did we?
Whoa.
No free ads.
No free ads. We can't even tell what it's for yet. Oh, dang it. All right. We're going to have to invoice them retroactively.
Cincinnati is minus 110 on the over, minus 120 on the under. The line is 5.5. Towson, Pitt, to start the season, both at home, and then going to Miami, Ohio. That's their out of conference.
Okay. 2-1.
They got a really fortunate Big 12 draw. They play Colorado, they play UCF, they play Kansas State.
What are you saying?
What?
You said they got a fortunate Big 12 draw, and the first name you said was Colorado.
That's it though. Like, these are the tough. They didn't miss. They didn't get Utah. They didn't get Oklahoma State. They didn't get Kansas, I don't think.
Yeah, no, that is. They did get Kansas State. They got Iowa State. All right.
I'm taking the under. I don't even know what to think about this team.
I think I'm taking the under too.
All right, Colorado's next. So let's hit an ad break.
Ooh, good tease.
Shout out to Coors Light.
Yes, sir.
Was it a big Coors Light weekend here at the DNVR bar?
Oh, yeah. Was it a big Coors Light weekend in Utah? Do they sell it in Utah?
They do.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm fortunately able to find some Coors Light out there.
Good. That's good.
One of the few beers that I'm allowed to.
You gotta
drink
like go into an alley, knock on a unmarked door.
Yeah, and then you have to like order chips and salsa on the side or something too. But Coors Light's the GOAT. Come hang out with us here at the bar. Come hang out with us at tailgates this year. We'll have plenty of Coors Light on hand. We got the Nuggets game tonight.
Get ready for a basically 9 p.m. tip-off.
Yeah, what is that?
Well, they say it's 8:30, which always means 8:40, but they'll flex it all the way to 8:50 depending on the game before it. And also, I'm told the earliest the MVP, if you guys didn't know, Nikola Jokic, most valuable player in the NBA again. The MVP ceremony, earliest it's starting is 8:30.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I don't know, go home, take a nap or something before you come back to the DNVR bar.
Yeah, be prepared for your Coors Light run tonight because it's going to be a late one.
Yes.
Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, and then Illegal Pete's.
Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beers. Yesterday, Dre was talking about the 3 Fs, and he said family, friends, and football. And I was like, I think the second F is faith.
Yes.
And then we did this read, and he was like, I think this is what made me think it was friends because of burritos, buddies, and beer.
Oh, man.
So anyways, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer is our friends over at Illegal Pete's. Go down there, get yourself a delicious steak and queso burrito, some delicious reverse nachos, anything you get over there. They've got fish tacos. They've got the steak and potato burrito if you're looking for something nice and hearty. They've got everything over at Illegal Pete's, and it is officially patio season. It's not just patio season, it's outdoor coffee season, the #1 season
There you go.
in the world. I had my coffee on the patio today, and it was divine, I would say. So go over to Illegal Pete's and enjoy patio season there.
Yeah, the 10-day forecast is it's calling for some Illegal Pete patio time.
Yes, it is. Might be a great way to kill time before the Nuggets game tonight.
There you go. I eat a lot of Illegal Pete's out here, of course.
Uh-huh.
And then I go back to Utah, and they've got the big burrito chains, and they got the local ones.
Yeah.
I just driving by those, I was like, yeah, you couldn't pay me to go there now.
Wow. Yeah, you got to watch out for Big Burrito.
For sure.
The industry is just crazy.
It's changing. All right, we got to go a little bit quicker here. But we can go in depth with this one, or we don't even have to, really, because I think this is an easy answer.
Yeah, let me think about this one. Colorado over under 4.5?
5.5.
5.5. Where?
At Bet365.
Okay. All right. Bet365. I think you can get it at 4.5 someplace.
Shop around.
Yes, exactly. But this is an absolute hammer the over money printer play of the year.
So we don't have the juice on the over like we did last year, but it's pretty close right now. -120 on the over, -110 on the under.
Yep. So not really. You can't read too much into that, but it's certainly better than Arizona, where they're begging you to take the over. Basically, no one is taking the over.
Yeah.
And they're begging you to take it. This one shows that it's pretty even in terms of the money. So, look, I think that exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the show, the insane chasm, if you will, between the people who believe in Colorado and the people who don't, is actually helping you as a bettor on this line.
Yeah.
There are people out there who I think have truly convinced themselves that like Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter suck. This team is going to be terrible, and
they don't have any players.
Yeah, they're going to go 1-11 or something crazy like that, and so they're betting the under. And because of that, this line is set at a lower number than where I think it should be, which is at least one whole win above this.
It should be at 6.5.
Yeah, I think 6.5 would be a much more accurate place to put it, and I would obviously still take the over. But 5.5. This to me is I'm not a financial advisor, but this is free money.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you look at this roster, if you actually pay attention and look at this roster and don't think they can't make a bowl game, at the very least.
2 of the 5 best players in college football.
Yep. And the best quarterback.
Yep.
That's an easy over. Houston is next. 4.5 is the line. Juice on the over at plus 125, minus 155 on the under. An interesting team with Willie Fritz coming in. Donovan Smith, I think, is returning. He was their starter last year, and I think they also brought in a transfer. But Willie Fritz coached some good football teams over at Tulane. Right? Tulane?
Yes.
So
That's the team that beat Caleb
USC.
Williams and USC in the bowl game. Kind of blew them out, didn't they?
It was
50-30 or something.
Well, it was like a super high scoring game, but it wasn't close. Like,
Yeah.
And Caleb got hurt in the end and stuff too. But either way, I'm going to believe in Willie Fritz. I'm going to take the juice over 4.5.
Let me see the top of the schedule one more time. Rice, UNLV, and Oklahoma.
OU.
Eef.
Well, you take the check there and you get in and out of Norman as fast as possible.
Are they getting a check to play an FBS game?
They're going there.
I guess it depends on if they're getting a return game. Oh, man. I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
They lost a lot of good players.
They got ravaged by the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look on the list to find Houston. I can't find them on this returning production list.
Okay.
Next is Iowa State.
This one is the easiest bet to me other than the Buffs.
Really?
Yep.
So the line's set at 7.5. Juice is on the over, just plus 100, minus 130 on the under. A lot of people taking this team as a dark horse.
Exactly. I think they are. I'm not I think the shine has come off of Matt Campbell a little bit, but I still think he's a very good football coach. And they're number one in the returning production rankings.
Yep.
Which we know when you're on that high end of the scale, it usually results in a great season for you. So I've got Iowa State over 7.5. I think they could clear it by 2 games, essentially winning 9.
They've got probably the best returning quarterback in the Big 12, Rocco Becht.
You mean in terms of teams that were in the Big 12 last year?
Yes. Not new Big 12 teams.
Yes.
He was Big 12 Freshman of the Year last year, Offensive Freshman of the Year. So,
yeah, good quarterback, well-rounded roster, a lot of returning experience, good coach. That all adds up for me to be a very good team this year.
next is Kansas. The line, 8.5, minus 105 on the over, minus 125 on the under. They've got another returning quarterback in the Big 12, one of the best in Jalen Daniels. He battled through injuries last year. But this team's really good.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
Out of conference.
How do you feel about naming, like if your last name was Bryant, naming your son Kobe?
I wouldn't do it.
Or like if your last name was Jordan, naming them Michael?
How do you ever expect them to live up to that
That's
name?
what I think too. Now, shout out to Kansas Kobe Bryant
Yes,
for becoming a top tier athlete.
for sure.
But even then, it's so hard to live up to that. Obviously, different spelling.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
Yeah. But I saw Chris Harris Jr. even quote tweeted a clip of Kobe Bryant saying this guy's going to be legit.
I think there was an old commercial of a guy whose name is Michael Jordan. And
Yes.
every time he
Yes.
makes a
I remember
reservation or
this.
something, people are disappointed when he
Yes.
shows up.
Great commercial. I am taking the over on Kansas. Out of conference is really easy, or easier than a lot of these other Big 12
What do they
teams,
have?
I think. They have Lindenwood, the Lindenwood Lions.
I thought it was going to be Lancers, but that's Longwood Lancers, I think.
They go to Illinois. That should be a tough football game. And then UNLV, if they can keep up the momentum from last year, that'll be a good game. But Kansas is going to have the quarterback advantage in a lot of games this season.
Wait, you just talking about Lindenwood reminded me of something legendary I did the other day. And Allie's in the room, so she can confirm it. It was one of those TikTok things where you have to guess the logos.
Yeah.
And there was one that was expert level, hardest one. And I paused it and I was like, I feel like I recognize this, but I have no idea. I'm just going to throw out Maryland Eastern Shore. Bang.
No way.
Hit it. And Allie was literally just like, how? How in the world would you know that?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
It's like a hawk or something, the bird that represents it. But
Did you know this from Circa with all the teams going on the?
it's similar. CU basketball played them one year. I literally remember looking down at my phone. I wasn't watching the game live. I was at a bowling alley in Vail. This is like the weird type of shit that I remember.
Yeah.
And I looked down at my phone to check the score, and I just remember seeing like the little logo. That's like that just like went into the back of my brain, and I pulled it out in that moment.
That's crazy.
Anyways,
Are you
Kansas,
over on Kansas?
I'm actually taking the under.
Really?
I think that Kansas has really fun players, and so people are higher on them because of that. But I think that they're going to underachieve a little bit. I think they're going to get 8 wins.
Okay. Next up, K-State. Avery Johnson, Dylan Edwards, of course, and then just a consistently tough football team. Always well coached. They always develop and over-deliver in terms of their recruiting rankings and stuff like that. This year out of conference, UT Martin, Tulane without Willie Fritz. And then that Arizona game again, which I think is out of conference.
It is. Man, incredibly tough start to the season. Scroll up just a little bit,
I don't
Alyssa.
think it gets much easier, man.
So obviously UT Martin, you like Tulane at Tulane. Got to go down to New Orleans in the heat and the humidity.
Yeah.
Do they play in?
I think they
in the
might
dome?
play in a dome, yeah.
Either way.
Let me see.
I think they might as well. But Arizona.
Or no, it's outdoors.
Okay.
Yeoman Stadium.
There you go. So you got to play in the heat and humidity of New Orleans in September. Arizona as a non-conference.
Yeah.
That one's at home at least. I think they'll probably win that. And then BYU, who we just said I think is going to be improved. And then Oklahoma State before they get to the bye week. I mean, they could have the underachieving label slapped on them before they even get to the bye.
And then that Colorado, they're walking into a hostile environment in that Colorado game.
Oh, yeah. God, I'm so excited for football season. This is actually, it's like torture doing this show for me every day because we're so far away.
Hard, I know, yeah. Very far away.
I'm going to take the under. I think that they don't quite get to 10 wins.
I think I'm going to as well. I've got that Colorado game circled, of course. They end the season at Iowa State. That could be for a trip to the Big 12 title game. They have to go to, or they get Kansas at home. They get Oklahoma State at home. But a fairly tough schedule. Next, we've got...
I also just think that the Big 12 is going to be a bloodbath this year.
I agree.
And so I don't think there's going to be one team that like rises above the rest in terms of a 10-11 win team. And it's actually amazing for it to be this year because any other year I would have said the Big 12 has almost no chance of getting a team in the college football playoff. But we're expanded.
Yep.
And so now they're guaranteed to get a team in the college football playoff. And I think whatever team comes out of the Big 12 is going to be incredibly battle tested.
Yeah, it reminds me of Pac-12 cannibalization.
Yep. I think the Pac-12 could have had some really great runs in the 12-team playoff era.
That 30 for 30, whenever it comes out, the demise of the Pac-12 and how they weren't able to cash in on last year.
Yep.
Oklahoma State is next. Their line set at 7.5.
Yep. Too low.
Minus 105 on the over, minus 125 on the under. You say too low. This is a tougher out-of-conference schedule, though. South Dakota State. That is a tough football team.
Who everyone thinks North Dakota State is?
Yes.
Is actually what South Dakota State is now. North Dakota State, the former powerhouse. South Dakota State, for those of you who didn't follow the FCS playoffs, which I actually did for the first time ever last year, absolutely just destroyed everything in their path on a way to a championship. It wasn't even like that fun to watch any of their games. They went crazy. I'm right. Am I not?
I'm pretty sure you're right. They made it at least to the semifinals.
No, I think they won the whole thing.
Oh, did they really?
In blowout fashion.
I remember they kicked the shit out of Colorado State a couple years ago, too.
Maybe I'm confusing them. Your doubt has made me doubt myself.
No, I'm not doubting you.
Football record. Yes, they went 14-1 on the season. Let's see.
Oh, South Dakota State. Oops.
Yeah, national champions, 14-1.
Yeah.
You made me doubt myself. Hate you for it.
I did not. I didn't say anything. That Arkansas game is going to be tough too, and I don't think Tulsa is necessarily a pushover.
I don't think so either. But would it surprise you if they come out of that 3-0?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. I think that they're going over the 7.5. Like 47-year-old quarterback. Actually, he's not that. He's only 38. 38-year-old quarterback, veteran, seen it all. Best running back in the country, at least going into the season.
Yep.
The same coach forever. Kind of got all the makings of a team that rarely underachieves and often overachieves.
So you're going over?
Yep, I'm going over.
I agree. The first 5 games of their season, first 6 really, could be about as tough as it gets in the Big 12. You have that out-of-conference stretch, and then you go right into Utah, K-State, West Virginia.
These were the scores of South Dakota State in the playoffs, just to confirm that I was right about everything I said. 42-6, 42-21, 39-18, 45-21.
Yep.
And that was against North Dakota State in the championship game.
A rival in the championship game?
Yep. And they blew them out. Imagine that, like, crown that you get to wear around as a fan. Blew out your hated rival in the championship.
That's going to be the best part of the expanded playoff, is we're going to see some matchups like that.
Yep.
All right, we got 5 left. Let's get through these and then get to questions. TCU is next. 7.5 is their line.
We got to go really fast because we're supposed to end on time today.
Okay, plus 120 over, minus 150 under. Out of conference, Stanford, LIU. Don't even know what that is.
LIU, that is Long Island, right?
I'd imagine so, I guess. I don't know. LIU Sharks?
Yeah, Long Island Sharks. A lot of sharks off the shores of Long Island.
And then SMU. That's their out of conference. At SMU as well. I am taking the under. I do not think they have a quarterback, and from what I saw last year, I don't know if they have very much young, good pieces.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those things where, like, if you bet on a team a couple times and they let you down, then they just fall out of your favor.
Yep.
I was rooting for TCU in every game after the Colorado game because I'm like, make that win look better, and they were so underwhelming. I'll take the under as well.
This line kind of surprised me.
Have we been aligned on everything? That's so lame.
For what?
I think we've been aligned on every
No, we
thing
haven't.
Okay.
Texas Tech. This one surprised me. 8.5 is the line. Minus 105 over, minus 125 under. Out of conference, Abilene Christian, Washington State, North Texas. That's 3 dubs.
Washington State, always frisky.
No Cam Ward.
True. And they're playing their games on the CW this year.
Yeah.
Which, great news for Colorado State. Probably be the biggest stage they play on when they play Washington State.
Oregon State, or I'm sorry.
I guess they play Colorado as well if they get another big stage.
Where is Washington State? I'm going to take...
I'm actually shocked that Texas Tech is set a whole game above Oklahoma State.
I agree.
I think those should be flipped, but because they're not, I'll take the under on Texas Tech.
They've got a very dynamic running back as well. I can't remember his name. Taj Brooks, I think his name is.
Sounds right. Sounds very Texas Tech-y as well.
Yeah. And then Baron Morton, their quarterback.
Yep.
Another returning young player. I'm going to go over on that one. They've got a lot of receivers too, man. UCF, 7.5 is the line. Minus 115 over, minus 105 under.
What's funny about this is I feel like UCF is getting a lot because they were bad last year. And I feel like they're getting a lot of credit for what they brought in, which they did bring in a lot of good players.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel as though Colorado's not getting that same benefit of the doubt there. I've got the under on UCF.
2 easy games out of conference, New Hampshire and Sam Houston, although Sam Houston, I think that's a good FCS team as well, right?
Yeah. But I don't think they're FCS. Are they?
Oh, yeah, they might have got the bump up.
Yeah.
And then they go to the Swamp in October for their 3rd out of conference game.
Yikes. It'll be very swampy.
Yeah. I'm going to take the under as well. Utah, 9.5, minus 115 over, minus 115 under. Even odds.
Okay. Unfortunately,
Cam Rising's back.
I think that this is the most dangerous team in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous might not even be the right word because it makes them sound sexier than they are. They're not at all. But
hard-nosed, tough.
they just print 10-win seasons or at least 9-win seasons. This is the one I'm least confident in, but I think I'll take the over.
I'm going to go under on Utah. Last one, West Virginia, 6.5, -125 over, -105 under.
Give me the over.
Garrett Green's the quarterback, yeah. And for that reason, I will take the over on them as well.
They do open the season with Penn State. Not great.
Albany is a good team, too. That's an FCS team right there that was in the Final Four, I believe.
Yeah, they had that crazy tight end who was like 7 feet tall.
Yep. And then at Pitt as well. That's pretty brutal. But I think this is a team that is on the up.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to questions quickly.
Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, super low on thumbs up today.
What do we got? I Am Monumental says, more important game to win, NDSU or Nebraska. I mean...
Don't make me choose, but I'll take a win over Nebraska. Oh.
Wow.
My bad. I'll take a win over Nebraska any day. We'll just deal with that later because we're almost done.
They're both important for different reasons. Obviously, the rivalry aspect of Nebraska probably reigns supreme, but you need to have a strong statement week one as well. Tim with a couple questions as well. Has DNVR reached out to Trey Parker and Matt Stone, CU grads and South Park creators, for an interview? It will be a fun interview. Casa Bonita updates. I don't know. Casa. What? Same word. I haven't been still.
Although based on the Colorado pronunciation of some towns and cities, Casa Bonita might be more appropriate, although it just hurts the ears to hear. We have not reached out to them, though. I don't think, to be honest, I don't know if they're the biggest CU football fans.
I think we would have known by now.
Yeah. They did do some cool stuff, like they had the South Park players intro the team once on ESPN, and then they have the Cartman doing Here Comes Ralphie that they did for a couple years. So not completely separated, but hey, if they watch and they're big fans, we would love to have them on, of course.
Has anyone confirmed the noise about Kansas moving to the SEC? I have not heard anything on that.
I think that is... we can't pick up Spirit because we have to do a whole thing.
It's guys, just forget about it.
We have
just
40 seconds left in the show.
Yeah. Audio listeners are so confused right now. Last one from Paul. Do you guys know why Tyler Johnson was playing with the twos this spring, banged up? Thought he was our best transfer interior offensive lineman. I truly don't know, but if I had to guess, I think it would be injuries.
Also, Tyler Brown was had the best spring of anyone.
Yep.
He had to play somewhere.
And look, we talked about this going into spring football, that these guards were going to be very competitive, probably the most competitive positions on the offensive line.
Yep. Eric quickly said, how hype are you guys about NBC? Moderately hype.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be at the game, so it doesn't matter to us.
It's true. All right.
That's it. No comments about Tarvaris Dawson. Do you have a comment?
No.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you guys then. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.